Hey guys, welcome to Fox 5 Live, another edition. It's Thursday morning, June 15th. I'm here, Molly Nevola here with Cam and Emily helping out today in the newsroom. We're going to be bouncing around to a bunch of different events, but first and foremost, so we don't miss it, I'm going to throw you right into the Roosevelt Room of the White House. President Trump is slated to sign an executive order on apprenticeship and the workforce of tomorrow initiatives. He's going to be signing that right there in the White House shortly. So we'll bring you right in there and check it out. We're bound to hear from a lot of people on Capitol Hill today and President Trump, of course, at the White House and others about follow and reaction from yesterday's Alexandria shooting, which we brought to you live. So we'll have more on that throughout the show. But for now, let's bring this volume up and listen in to the Roosevelt Room. You're gonna have to. Be like a 30-second, any warning. Actually, even if it's not 2 minutes, even if it's just, even if it's just, any warning, they'll appreciate it. And just tell me what 2 minutes. Be like, it was 3 minutes, actually. 3-minute warning. Hi guys, if you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube, just a little more information behind what is going on right now. Cam, you have the info.
Yeah, so this measure that President Trump is going to sign the executive order in a minute here, basically is designed to incentivize businesses who have vacant jobs due to a lack of skilled workers to train their own, to basically make unskilled workers skilled, and to create an apprenticeship program to train workers in order to fill those jobs. So it directs the Labor Department to draft new rules allowing companies, industry groups, and unions to create and certify their own programs.
Yeah, so he'll be sort of speaking about this initiative too, making some remarks, and then going ahead to sign the executive order right here in the Roosevelt Room of the White House. What else were we?
This is the order doubles funding for the apprenticeship grants to $200 million by putting more money, by pulling money allotted for existing job training programs and putting into this more, it seems, specific program that's meant to
incentivize workers from within the company.
Incentivize companies to create their own workforce instead of just relying on people to kind of educate themselves on exactly how to do a job.
Interesting stuff. So yeah, you guys, you'll see this in a moment. He'll come up to the podium there and just make a few words on this initiative. If you're watching on Facebook, let us know your comments, any questions. You can comment below. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to chat with us as well on the chat, and we'll get back to you guys shortly.
Should have gone on that side of the room. Anxious with anticipation.
Yeah. That 2-minute warning comes out as a surprise.
Can we call that the 2-minute warning or no? We can see the president's remarks being put on the podium. Still not certain we're going to get a 2-minute, but that seems to be an indication we're getting closer at least. Looks like we're getting started.
Good morning. I want to welcome the governors that we have with us here today, my colleagues on the cabinet, members of Congress, guests. I want to thank all here for their commitment to workforce development. I want to recognize in particular Ivanka Trump, whose deep interest and personal passion and leadership have brought energy and ideas to our workforce efforts. There are 6 million job openings in the United States. This is the highest number of job vacancies on record. Americans want to hire. American companies want to hire Americans, and Americans want to work. But there's a skills gap between skills available and the skills that workers currently have. Apprenticeship teach the skills needed to find good jobs and to succeed in those jobs. Apprenticeships combine a paid work component with an educational component. Apprentices earn while they learn, largely reducing or avoiding the burden of student debt. Throughout his career, President Trump witnessed firsthand the success of apprenticeship programs in the building trades. Throughout his campaign, President Trump committed firmly to expand job opportunities here in America. The president knows that apprenticeships offer participants good jobs and freedom from excessive loan debt. And the president knows that apprenticeship programs work, that they are the best way to reduce the skills gap. It is my honor and distinct privilege to introduce the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for all being here. Before beginning today, I'd like to take a moment to again send our thoughts and prayers to my friend and the friend of most of us in this room, Steve Scalise, and his great family as he continues his very brave fight. It's been much more difficult than people even thought at the time. He's in some trouble. He's a great fighter, and he's going to be okay, we hope. I visited Steve and his family at the hospital last night, and I reassured them that the entire country is pulling for them, praying for them, and that we are here for them every single step of the way. America's hearts, and we mean this in the truest sense, sends its love. There are a lot of hearts in this country, great hearts, and they're all sending their love and support to the Scalise family. And Steve, in his own way, may have brought some unity to our long divided country. We've had a very, very divided country for many years. And I have a feeling that Steve has made a great sacrifice, but there could be some unity being brought to our country. Let's hope so. While at the hospital, I also visited with Special Agent Crystal Griner, terrific young woman, of the Capitol Police and her family. Crystal is one of the 2 Capitol Police officers who saved so many lives through her heroism, along with Special Agent David Bailey. They ran right into the fire. They ran right into those guns and the bullets, and they saved a lot of lives. America salutes both of their courage. They have great, great courage. We all salute them. We also salute the men and women of the Alexandria Police Fire and Rescue and all of the first responders. The timing and the speed and the professionalism was incredible. They performed with bravery and with skill. Finally, our heartfelt prayers go out to Matt Micah, who was badly wounded in the assault. To Matt's family, anything you need, we are here for you. Hopefully Matt will be okay. In these difficult hours, it's more important than ever to help each other, care for each other, and remind each other that we are all united by our love of our great and beautiful country. We're joined today by Secretary Acosta, Secretary Ross, and Administrator McMahon as we prepare to make a historic announcement to train Americans for the jobs of the future. We have a lot of companies moving into this country. You see the unemployment rate is at a very, very low level. Job enthusiasm and manufacturing, business enthusiasm is at record levels, never been higher. A lot of good numbers are coming out, including almost $4 trillion in gain to the stock markets. And since the election, $4 trillion. We just signed a big deal yesterday for hundreds of millions of dollars worth of equipment and military equipment going to be made in this country, in our country, for other countries. We've got it going. Have to make sure the people are here and they're going to be well trained. So I want to thank my daughter Ivanka and her leadership. She has worked so hard on this. She understands how important it is. We're training people to have great jobs and high-paying jobs. And we're here today to celebrate the dignity of work. It's really a good term, dignity of work, and the greatness of the American worker, which I've been celebrating for a long time. Probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for the American worker. And the American worker sees what's happening in Michigan and in Ohio and in a lot of places that we've had a huge impact on just in a short period of time that I've been here and this administration has been involved. We have a lot of companies moving in. A lot of plants are going to be built. A lot of plants are being expanded. And big ones are going to be announced very soon. We're going to hear some very big names that I can't tell you about now. We want to get them signed on the dotted line. We don't want to talk too quickly. It's called sign them on the dotted line, right? In just a few moments, I'll be signing an executive order to expand apprenticeships and vocational training to help all Americans find a rewarding career, earn a great living, and support themselves and their families, and love going to work in the morning. We will be removing federal restrictions that have prevented many different industries from creating apprenticeship programs. We have regulations on top of regulations, and in history, nobody has gotten rid of so many regulations as the Trump administration. And that's one of the reasons that you see the jobs and the companies all kicking in so strongly. I think some very good numbers are going to be announced, by the way, in the very near future as to GDP. So we're empowering these companies, these unions, industry groups, federal agencies to go out and create new apprenticeships for millions of our citizens. Apprenticeships place students into great jobs without the crippling debt of traditional four-year college degrees. Instead, apprentices earn while they learn, which is an expression we're using, earn while you learn. We're joined today by apprentices who know firsthand how these programs can bring new hope and new opportunities. We're also joined by some of the country's great governors, and I appreciate them very, very much for being here. We just had a meeting in the cabinet room. Charles Robel is here with us from Wisconsin, where I just left, actually, yesterday. I was with Governor Walker. Charles is a 3-time combat veteran who bravely served our nation, highly respected. After Charles came back from the war, he, like so many other Americans, faced very tough economic times. Charles began taking machine tool operation courses from a technical college. He immediately excelled. He was really, really good at it, they say. That's what they say. I haven't checked. Where is Charles? Charles, they tell me. I haven't checked it. I want to check you out. But he immediately excelled. And by the end of his year-long apprenticeship, Charles will be making more than $60,000 a year and going up a lot higher than that. And he loves what he does. I think you really love it, right? Yeah, he loves it. Charles, we thank you for your service to our country, both in the military and in exactly what you're doing right now, which is so important. And we congratulate you on this exciting new career. And you're going to have some great future. Thank you, Charles. Each of the apprentices here today has their own story and their own dreams. That's what they are, dreams. Apprenticeships teach striving Americans the skills they need to operate incredible machines. And some of these machines are so intricate, so powerful. And really the word is they are incredible. This is not the old days. This is new and computerized and complicated, and you really have to know what you're doing. But they create amazing products. And to construct skyscrapers that touch the clouds, I mean, you look at the equipment today and just go back 10 years ago and 20 years ago, it's from a different world, from a different planet. It's incredible. I just met with the governors from many of the states to discuss how we can work with them to expand apprenticeships and the apprentice programs. I'm also delighted to be here with CEOs of major companies who support our apprenticeship initiatives. And we had a tremendous number of the biggest CEOs in the world here yesterday. And we talked about this also, and they're fully behind it, including our effort to help millions of talented young American women thrive and flourish in our economy. We are thrilled as well to have with us today Congressman Bobby Scott and Congresswoman Virginia Foxx, who cares so deeply about this effort. The strength of our nation will be determined by our ability to keep jobs in America. And we're going to keep them in America. You're not going to have companies fleeing like in the past. There's going to be a big price to pay for companies that want to leave, fire their workers, build a plant outside of this country, and think they're going to sell their product right back into the United States. It's going to be a big price to pay. But we want to keep jobs in America, and we want to train people and hire American workers to fill those jobs, and that's exactly what we're doing, and we're really doing a job of it. And I just want to thank all of our secretaries and everybody involved in the process. Not only will our apprentices transform their lives, but they will also transform our lives in the truest sense. Today's apprentices will construct the roads and bridges that move our citizens. They will bend the metal and steel that shape our cities, and they will pioneer the new technology that drives our commerce. But as we train the next generation of Americans to do their jobs, all of us here today have to do our jobs. We have to join forces, join hands, and join together to restore the American dream for all of our people. And one of the parts of the American dream is we're going to come down very, very hard, and we already have. You've seen what's going on the border, on this massive drug problem that we have in the United States, and frankly that other countries have also. And we're coming down very, very hard on it. And if we don't, it's called shame on us. So everybody that's worked so hard on this program and everybody in this room, including the reporters, God bless you. God bless America. And let's go out and let's do a really terrific job with the apprentice program. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. This is a big one. Right, Brenda? Thank you very much.
Mr. President, do you believe that you are under investigation now? Mr. President, do you now believe? Do you want to respond on camera to the Washington Post report, Mr. President?
So there you have it, guys. Some reporters throwing in some questions, of course, about obstruction of justice, which we've been hearing in the past day or two. But I find it interesting. This speech was actually prepared for yesterday, building the workforce into tomorrow with apprenticeships. But in light of yesterday's events in Alexandria, the president put it off. They rescheduled it. And of course, he addressed the nation yesterday after the shooting and visited Steve Scalise in the hospital as well. But now it just went on as planned. He signed the executive order. And you heard that little tribute at the beginning as well to the victims from yesterday's shooting. So quite the way to start the speech, I think.
Yeah, and you heard from him, Scalise does seem to be in some trouble, he said, and his condition is perhaps worse than many anticipated. Mm-hmm. And so obviously, the prayers of everyone here and our thoughts are with him, and hopefully he can recover. Yeah,
definitely. And we're going to continue with the follow on the Alexandria shooting. More information to come about that as it comes into us here in the digital newsroom, guys. Join us over on our YouTube channel, Fox 5 DC, for more of that. All right, hey YouTube, thanks for joining us today on Fox 5 Live. Once again, it's Molly in the studio with Cam and Emily hanging out. We're going to bring you today's news and anything breaking, anything updated on yesterday's shooting, any live events that come in on our sources. But we're kind of gathering some video from yesterday, and there's a lot of stuff coming out from yesterday, including this really interesting interview, guys, with Zach Barth. He was the aide to Texas Representative Roger Williams yesterday, and he was shot, and he has this just amazing account that he gave us on camera. We used it this morning. Check out this interview with him about what happened yesterday, his injuries, and how it all went down from his perspective.
Balls, hear a loud pop, and everything stops. Time slows down, and I'm wondering what's going on. Then I hear somebody, they scream out, "He's got a gun, run." And at that point, I see the shooter. He's got a long gun. He's at the third base dugout, just taking deliberate aim at me, at members of Congress, and I hightail it to right field. There's nowhere for me to go. There's no gate or anything, so I do the best thing I can. I get on the ground, make myself the smallest target possible, and then I see him turn his gun towards me, and it just starts popping all around me. He hits me in my leg. And at that point, my adrenaline is pumping, and my fight or flight reflexes, they take control. And I decide if I want to live, I need to get to better cover. So I sprint down, running for my life, sprint down the first base line into the dugout, and I just jump in, and I jump into the arms of the congressman, and we stay there. And I was bleeding a little bit. And I wasn't really concerned about that. I was just concerned about staying alive. So I was keeping my head down, keeping the congressman's head down, and we were just trying to make it through. We didn't really know what was going on. It was chaos, but thank the Lord for Officers Bailey and Griner. Without them, I might not be talking to y'all. Yeah.
So that was the interview, guys, from earlier this morning. Just a crazy firsthand harrowing account of Zach Barth's situation out there on the field. We were talking about this, like sort of the layout of the baseball diamond and what happened, and we're trying to kind of sort of piece together. I know investigators are obviously doing that, and we'll probably get more maps and information as more articles come out, but it's just wild to think about like where people were when, and the third base line and the first base line and dugouts, just that whole setup.
I mean, just the whole situation is just tragic and stunning and harrowing, and I couldn't imagine possibly being in a situation where I'm just like, you go from 1 second just like catching fly balls, like playing baseball, having fun.
It's exactly what he said too. He was like,
and
I'm shagging fly balls.
All of a sudden you're, running for your life, trying to make yourself a small target, like bleeding out of the leg, and you don't even care about that because you're just worried about your life. That's stunning, really.
Yeah,
just stunning.
Totally. And there's another part to this interview. Let me play just you the second half, guys.
Yeah, I was absolutely praying. I'm a man of faith, and that's something that is really a central part of my life. So I was, praying for safety, praying, just praying. And what was going through my mind was just to try to get out of that situation. I was a sitting duck out there. I mean, we're on a flat baseball field, no cover. There was a 20-foot gate, and I didn't know that I could scale that with my leg. But I didn't really feel much. My adrenaline was pumping, and at that point, instincts take over. I was hitting the left calf. It was a burning sensation. I looked down, I saw blood flowing out of there, but thankfully, it just kind of tore through the meaty part of my calf. It was in and out, and I was able to run on it. Thank goodness.
And what's crazy to me, just to think about, we were just like in wonder about that interview. He is there at work, dressed up on the Hill. So, and Emily here was actually on the assignment desk during the whole craze and the havoc, I guess. Yeah, if Emily takes the mic. Tell us a little bit what that was like, or kind of what you were doing kind of during the whole event.
Well, it was the first time in the last couple of weeks that something was so breaking as this was, and like everyone just got up, and everyone who was normally in different offices was all like around the desk, and everyone was doing something. We had like 5 or 6 people manning the phones and trying to call to get different people, different places, like the hospital, and follow the helicopter and this and that. But it was just really chaotic.
Yeah, I bet. I know we were fielding a lot of tweets coming in from various politicians and officials, and just getting the info, and things would change throughout the day. So it's always kind of a wild time. But obviously, even this morning, still a lot of questions to be answered, and we're waiting on like more investigators' info to come out, police, FBI, lots more about the suspect himself, of course, and the like. So pretty interesting times for all of us there. And Cam corrected me earlier. It was obviously there's multiple shootings. I was kind of calling it a shooting, but obviously lots of shots were fired. 5 people hit, and then 1 dead, which was the suspect who was killed. So we wait now on the outcomes of how they're doing, I guess. Like you said, it was kind of upped from stable to critical condition for Representative Steve Scalise of Louisiana. So we kind of wait on that now and hope that everything's cool.
Yeah, on the yesterday, we were kind of given the information and gathered the information that things were kind of calming down, and that, there wasn't as much to worry about yesterday, around midday yesterday, but overnight and into this morning, we don't know if we were just misinformed, or if or if their condition worsened.
Right.
But obviously now, and we heard from President Trump earlier, who often is kind of frank about these things. He said that Scalise was potentially in trouble, or at least definitely struggling in some way with his condition. So obviously we hope that improves for him.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, we're going to bring you over now. Here's a shot, actually, of the hospital where Washington Hospital Center, that's where Steve Scalise is. And we're kind of keeping an eye on that story, obviously, as we've been talking about it, just to see any updates on that. And I believe this is actually a package being replayed for us about his condition.
Ambushed Wednesday morning as they practice for a charity baseball game. Zach Barth, a congressional staffer, was also wounded and describes the moment he was hit.
It just starts popping all around me. He hits me in my leg. And at that point, my adrenaline is pumping, and my fight or flight reflexes, they take control. And I decide if I want to live, I need to get to better cover.
Barth and his boss, Texas Congressman Roger Williams, crediting the good guys with guns for saving their lives.
Our Capitol Police are the heroes. If they had not responded as they did, I don't think anybody would have made it through. All we had was balls and bats to fight this guy.
The dead gunman, James T. Hodgkinson, left behind a trail of anti-GOP social media rants, leading some to believe he was targeting Republicans. Many are calling for unity and pleading for all sides to lower the partisan temperature.
Enough is enough. If politics and policy differences are what divide us, there are ways to solve those, and that's called in election time. Do it at the ballot box.
President Trump and the First Lady visited Congressman Scalise late Wednesday night.
And I reassured them that the entire country is pulling for them, praying for them, and that we are here for them every single step of the way.
That charity game will go on tonight, and colleagues plan to wear purple and gold in honor of Steve Scalise, who is a graduate of Louisiana State University. At MedStar Hospital in Washington, Doug McKelway, Fox News.
That is kind of cool. That was just a package being fed down to us from Fox News, the channel, about the condition of, or sort of the story from yesterday and the condition of Representative Scalise. So we obviously, our thoughts and prayers are with him, and we hope everything works out there. I mean, really scary stuff coming out from yesterday. Speaking of that, in light of that, there is now sort of an initiative coming to be where congressmen are talking about wanting to possibly be armed after the fallout from the shooting from yesterday. So we do have a reporter on this story today. We're going to be hoping to get that question in at this press conference, which is coming up shortly. Take a look at this. It will be Mayor Muriel Bowser and Chief Peter Newsham at a press conference talking actually about the arrests that were made outside of the Turkish Embassy many weeks ago when there were protests, and there were 2 arrests made. I think 11 people were taken and questioned, and then 2 arrests were actually made. So they'll be talking about that arrest, but we're going to make sure we try to get a question in about this new sort of initiative where some congressmen have announced that they want to begin carrying arms and be exempt members from the DC concealed carry prohibition. So we're going to kind of investigate that a little further in light of yesterday's events. All right, guys, we're going to jump into this press conference shortly. It should be starting in just about a minute or so. So we'll be back on with you guys shortly. Once again, guys, this is an update on the arrests that were made outside of the Turkish Embassy on May 17th of this year. If you guys remember, there was or 16th rather, there was a scuffle outside the embassy. 11 people were transported and 2 people were arrested. So we're going to hear from the mayor herself, Muriel Bowser, and the chief of police, Peter Newsham, will be here to discuss those recent arrests and provide an update on that. So we're waiting on that. It should be coming up shortly here. We have one of our reporters here to get the full story and bring it back in-house, but we're breaking in live so you guys can catch it while it happens here at the Digital Newsroom. So stay tuned for more updates, guys, and we'll be back with you in a bit.
So at least you didn't narrow it down to 20 people, which is still not enough to track. I'm also going to tell them we should do the 14. Because I figured this is going to be cool. Well, because I figured before it was going to be myself. Okay, so then it was just me alone. And like, that's it. Oh my God. And then when I was yes, when I looked it up, like it was 650 miles because their family upstairs. Regardless of and before they said the first couple of times I told them, I guess, well, you guys are 3,000. And they're bringing like 18. So, and I guess the weird thing is, the press room will not be available. Which referring to as just press box, which doesn't affect us. My question is, obviously there's a well. Is there a photo of it? There is. It's all
Guys, while we wait for this to start, we're actually going to throw you over to a shot, check this out, of the Montgomery County Courthouse up in Norristown, Pennsylvania. This is where we're awaiting still that verdict of Bill Cosby. Now, what's the word on this, Kim? Emily, you guys were saying it's still coming.
Yeah. After 30 hours of deliberations, the jurors are still deadlocked.
Wow.
They told the judge that they were deadlocked, and he basically just told them to keep trying. So we're still waiting a verdict there, and it doesn't seem like we're that close to one if they're still deadlocked after 30 hours. I guess they have to just keep talking, but I don't know like, what's going to change about their opinions. It seems
same, and I actually don't even. I'm kind of fuzzy on the rules on this. Like, does it just keep going and going and going, or is there a limit for deadlock? I don't know.
I don't know. I think there's got to be a limit. I mean, just from
that's what I thought, but
they all have all the information they're going to have at this point. I kind of envision them just sitting there yelling at each other, but
I know.
Like
it's
just
crazy.
from personal experience, yelling at that doesn't change anyone's opinion. So
I know, right? Definitely not your parents.
I don't know like what exactly. I guess us like you guys, we're just gonna sit here and keep waiting.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's better to be out here than in there, just having to continue using time on this. So.
Oh, and they just switched our source on this, guys, but they do this from time to time. Looks like some governors were speaking. They just finished. If we get this feedback, we'll bring that to you guys live. But yeah, interesting case. We're going to get the source in, a live shot of Montgomery County Courthouse probably pretty frequently because we're waiting that decision. Once it comes down, immediately we'll get a camera flashed there because it'll be a sudden event, and they have reporters kind of staking out the scene you saw from that footage. Lots of people just there for the day, waiting in case this breaks, in case it happens. They want to be first. So we're keeping an eye on Twitter as well, so we can update you if that happens. And we're going to bring you back inside. Where is this again? We're going to bring you back inside the news conference with Police Chief Peter Newsham and the mayor as well in just a few moments. Let's hear from the governors now that President Trump was speaking with earlier.
President, we just finished both a great working week on the expansion of apprenticeship programs and earn and learn educational models. It was a great step in what will be a longer process, expanding apprenticeships and workforce development in this country and closing the skill gap.
Thank you to the President, Trump, and all the cabinet secretaries and administrators for hosting us today. It's a great opportunity for the governors to be able to talk about the needs of our employers in our state, people who are looking for jobs, and how we can work together to close the skills gap and to help our employees and our businesses find the relevant work skills that meet the needs of a modern economy. We know that there are hundreds of thousands of employees looking for jobs, but there's a mismatch between the relevant work skills that are needed in today's economy. There are a lot of great practices that we discussed with the President and things that can be implemented throughout our various states. We talked about being able to offer the type of work training programs that will help create more jobs, more opportunities for the job openings that we have. We also know that between now and the year 2025, that over 77% of our jobs in America will require full learn to earn type programs in our nation, where we can work with our private sector businesses. Together, Governor Walker, who is our chairman of our Republican Governors Association, Governor Walker from Wisconsin.
Great, thanks, Mayor. Well, workforce is the #1 issue in our state. I think talking to other governors, not only here, but in the past, it's the #1 issue in America. I know when all the governors of all 50 states were invited, I specifically raised my hand and mentioned the issue of workforce and said the President could be a great leader for us in that regard, particularly not only in programs, but using the bully pulpit. And so we very much appreciate his focus today, not only meeting with us and other prior to signing the executive order, came from Wisconsin, was there with us at the trip the other day. And I think for all of us, one of the great...
Mr. Cosby get the justice that he was looking for in Montgomery County. These jurors, they have been very judicious. They have really taken their time.
Guys, just checking in with you. This is Bill Cosby's spokesman. We just switched our feed really quickly. And he's speaking to the media right now outside the courthouse about the deadlocked jury.
He's not guilty of these charges that they tried to bring about. We just hope right now that these jurors are still being treated the way they should be treated. No one will come in and try to force them to change their decision, change their thoughts, change their ideas. They were brought here to be impartial and fair. And we hope that fairness is still being given to them and they're still being able to deliberate on their own without any pressure from anyone. We have said from the very beginning that this case has been unprecedented. Mr. Cosby should not be here today. He should not have ever been here today. But we can't change that. He's here right now. He is just happy to know that he has 12 people of his peers who understand that the facts of this case don't add up. The inconsistencies with Ms. Constant's investigation, with Durham Police, with Montgomery County, and that shows you why Bruce Castor decided not to bring any charges. Bruce Castor decided not to try this case 12 years ago, but you have a DA by the name of Kevin Steele who used Mr. Cosby as a catapult for his ambitions. And his ambitions is to go to a higher level, but not on Mr. Cosby's name and time. He's not going to go to that higher level. So we want to just thank these jurors. We want to just thank them for continuing to be judicious, continue to look at the facts of the case, and see that this case should have never been brought here today. And we're here to proclaim Mr. Cosby's innocence. And he just wants to say again, thank you to these jurors. Keep working, keep looking at the facts, keep deliberating, and hopefully we get out of here the way we came in, as a not guilty and innocent man. We're not saying, I didn't say vindication. I didn't say, I said, what I said, justice. Justice means he's getting a fair and impartial jury. That's justice. That's what this courthouse promised. As an American citizen of the United States of America, he's an American citizen. That's what we're all promised, right? This is the place where the Constitution was developed. We're all promised. It's, I don't, you know, look, deadlock is a deadlock. You can't call it anything. When the Golden State Warriors beat the Cavs, it was a win. A win is a win. I'm not calling it a win. It's a deadlock.
What's Mr. Cosby saying? What's he saying today?
Mr. Cosby is resting. He has spoken to Mrs. Cosby, and we're not proclaiming a victory. We're just saying the jurors are now looking at the case. What they did when they asked for the investigation of the Durham police officer, then they asked for Constance's testimony on the witness stand, then Detective Schaefer's testimony on the witness stand. They were putting the case together. They were retrying the case in the deliberation room, and that's all that we have ever asked for. We have never asked for any special favors. We just hope that the DA's office and this courthouse continue to let them do what they came here to do.
But after they said that one getting a fair trial, do you still believe that?
He never got a fair trial. He never should have been here. And that was unfair to have him here. But Mr. Cosby is innocent until proven guilty. Thank you.
Just a quick question. So Alexandria is innocent, he's innocent.
Yeah. So Bill Cosby's spokesman saying, you know, yeah, what Cam, you just said, he's going to say that anyway, but he saying Bill Cosby should not even be there at this trial, but he's responding to the fact that the jury is deadlocked. We're still waiting on that. It could be deliberating for a long time further, right? We'll have to see how long they go. Obviously, reporters out there staking it out. They're going to be out there all day. There it is. There's a bump shot of the Montgomery County Courthouse. That was a live little look at what's going on outside of there, and a little comment, I guess, on how Bill Cosby's feeling, what's going on today, how he's reacting to this case. Pretty interesting stuff. Definitely a big one. All right, guys, we're going to switch it over. You know what's coming next. We were promoting it before. The D.C. mayor and the police chief are at the Washington Convention Center down here in Washington, and they're going to be discussing the arrests that were made outside the Turkish Embassy on May 16th of this year. After a scuffle, there were some protests, and there were some arrests made. 11 people were taken and questioned. 2 were arrested, and we'll get some more details from the officials here in Washington. But just thanking you guys for joining us. Feel free to fire up that chat like I see that you guys are already, and we can start a discussion about some of the events today as they come out. So all of this is raw and live, unedited video for you guys. We want to bring you the latest so you can see what's going on during this day. This should be starting shortly. Looks like they just flipped around these posters, and we'll hear from them in just a minute.
We're going to get started in just under 2 minutes here. We'll have Mayor Bowser, who will start, and with her will be the Chief of Police, Chief Newsham, and Secret Service will also be up here with them. They will introduce themselves when they get started. Thank you.
you know, I think this guy was this whole Scotty segment was not Scotty's speech was the best. Yeah, and I have this. Scotty, yeah, James. Yeah, they're boy with an icon. Yeah, which is what they want. So, I mean, the video guy would be the one using icons to get last year. This is a chip based, yeah. So they were like static. They just having like a super friendly, which is. Yeah. Somebody come on there. It's really nice. He's racing. Yeah, it's 37. The flags are all white and stuff. So it's like that. So here we go.
All right, guys, looks like it's starting up shortly here. We're going to stay on this so you guys can check in. There it is. There's Mayor Bowser and the police chief.
Good morning. I'm Muriel Bowser. I'm the mayor of Washington, D.C., and I'm joined today by the chief of the Metropolitan Police Department, Special Agent in Charge Brian Ebert of the United States Secret Service, and members of my public safety team. We are here to provide an update on the violent confrontation that happened outside of the Turkish ambassador's home last month. As many of you may remember, on May 16th, the Turkish president and foreign minister attended official meetings here in Washington, D.C. Turkish security and diplomatic personnel accompanied the Turkish president and foreign minister during their trip. During the course of the official visit, Turkish security personnel and others assaulted peaceful protesters in the District of Columbia. U.S. law enforcement officers as well during this incident in Sheridan Circle in Washington, D.C., located directly across from the ambassador's residence. 9 protesters in Sherman Circle were injured during this vicious attack. As I've said before, I condemn this attack. It was an affront to our values as Washingtonians and as Americans, and it was a clear assault on the First Amendment. As Americans, the First Amendment grants us the right to assemble and protest peacefully. And here in D.C., we are committed to safeguarding and protecting that right. MPD, the Metropolitan Police Department, has been working alongside our federal partners to ensure that justice is served. I want to thank the United States Secret Service, the U.S. State Department, as well as the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. Because of their cooperation with the lead investigative agency, our police, and with the help of state-of-the-art technology, law enforcement has identified several suspects by comparing screen captures from video footage to visas to passport images. And there have been, as you know, 2 arrests made on the day of the incident. There were 2 arrests made related to this incident yesterday, and the chief will talk about the warrants that are in place now and the people who are wanted related to this incident. I just want to be perfectly clear that we take our position in the United States as the nation's capital very seriously. We host demonstrations month to month. We host over millions of people who come to the seat of their government to protest peacefully. We support them. We make sure that they are safe, but we also make sure that they follow our laws. And certainly, anyone traveling to the United States will be held to that same standard. We will defend the First Amendment, and we will make sure that our laws are being enforced. So I want to thank the Metropolitan Police Departments for undergoing a professional investigation where they relied on their human intelligence, but also technology to make sure that justice is served. I want to now turn to Peter Newsham, who is the Chief of the Metropolitan Police Department.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. On May 16th, 2017, the Turkish president and Turkish foreign minister attended official meetings in Washington, D.C. Turkish security and diplomatic personnel accompanied the Turkish president and foreign minister during their trip. During the official Turkish visit on May 16th at approximately 4 in the afternoon, Turkish security personnel and others assaulted protesters in the area of Sheridan Circle Northwest. This is in the vicinity of the Turkish ambassador's residence. Video footage captured the assault and the police response. 9 protesters were injured in the attack. 2 people were arrested at that time. Using video of the incident, law enforcement has been able to identify the majority of the suspects who were involved in the assault. On Tuesday, June 13th, MPD was able to obtain arrest warrants for 16 people we believe to be involved in the assaults. 2 were U.S. citizens, 2 were Canadian citizens, and the remainder were Turkish citizens. Pursuant to those arrest warrants, yesterday, 2 of the suspects were arrested by members of the United States Marshals Service. Arrested in Virginia was Sinan Nareen of Virginia, charged with felony aggravated assault and misdemeanor assault or threatened assault in a menacing manner. Mr. Nareen waived extradition and will be presented in court today. The second individual arrested yesterday is Eyüp Yildirim of New Jersey, charged with felony assault with significant bodily injury, felony aggravated assault, and misdemeanor assault or threatened assault in a menacing manner. Arrest warrants have been issued for the arrest of the following Turkish security officers: Turgut Akar, Ismail Dalkaran, Servet Ekkan, Tugay Ekkan, Ahmet Karabey, Farid Kiasan, Lutfu Kutluja, Murat Mustafa Sumarjan, and Gökhan Yildirim. These individuals have arrest warrants for assault or threatening assault in a menacing manner. Warrants have been issued for the arrest of the following Turkish police officers: Ismail Ergunduz, whose arrest warrant is for assault with significant bodily injury and simple assault; Mehmet Sarman, whose arrest warrant is for aggravated assault and simple assault; and Hama Utari, whose arrest warrant is for aggravated assault and assault or threatened assault in a menacing manner. Warrants have also been issued for the arrest of the 2 following Canadian citizens: Mahmoud Sami Elialta. The arrest warrant is for aggravated assault and assault with significant bodily injury; and Ahmet Jangasan Deragi, whose arrest warrant is for assault with significant bodily injury and assault or threatened assault in a menacing manner. Any additional actions regarding execution of these warrants will be weighed by the State Department as appropriate under relevant laws and regulations. There are some suspects who remain unidentified at this time. MPD will release a video of photographs, and we will ask for the public's assistance in helping to identify the remaining individuals responsible for these assaults. In the United States, and particularly in the District of Columbia, we hold our ability to peacefully protest as a sacred right. When these events unfolded in early May, we said we would do everything we possibly could to hold those responsible accountable for their actions. We are hopeful that those responsible will do their part and present themselves to answer to these charges. I want to thank the U.S. Marshal Service, the U.S. Secret Service, the United States Attorney's Office, and the United States State Department for offering their unwavering assistance in bringing these warrants to the U.S. Attorney's Office for prosecution. I'd also like to thank my 2 detectives that worked feverishly on bringing these warrants to the U.S. Attorney's Office, Detective Kyle Kimball and Detective Victor de Peralta. Thank you. We can take any questions that you may have. Anybody have any questions? Ma'am?
Sorry, thank you. Do you have any indication as to why the Canadian citizens came down to see Erdogan?
We do not. Sir?
Tom Ramstack from Reuters. You made several references to the State Department. Can we assume that this action is a State Department action, or is this an MPD action that you sought permission from the State Department?
We worked cooperatively with the State Department. They were very cooperative in assisting the Metropolitan Police Department in bringing these charges, and particularly in helping us to identify the folks that were responsible.
Okay, they cooperated, but is this a State Department action?
The warrants were presented by members of the Metropolitan Police Department, so it's an MPD local investigation. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, with the Armenian TV. Those bodyguards, the security detail, they are in Turkey. What kind of measures will be taken to bring them to justice in the United States or in any other?
Yeah, it's a great question, and the State Department is going to try and work that out. What I would say, and I think that all of you have seen some of the things that have been said publicly about why the assaults occurred, I would say to the folks that were involved, if you are a law-abiding person and you feel like you did not do anything wrong, then please present yourself here to answer to these charges. We'd like to hear what you have to say.
If they are not law-abiding person, then what?
Well, we'll have to, that remains to be seen. That remains to be seen. Go ahead, sir.
I'm Otto Warmbier without Kurdish TV. Can you assume that these individuals will be arrested if they attempt to enter the United States?
They will be.
And
That's not an assumption. If they attempt to enter the United States, they will be arrested.
Another question, do these kind of attacks warrant an international manhunt for them? And the U.S. allies, if you ask them, would they, or Interpol?
I think that's not a question that I can answer. I can tell you that here in the United States, and particularly in the District of Columbia, this is the type of offense that is extreme in nature. When you have folks that are peacefully protesting here in Washington, D.C., which is a place where we welcome peaceful protest, and they're attacked for no reason, we think it's extremely important. Go ahead, and I'll come over to you.
Diane Nissenbaum with the Wall Street Journal. I wanted to ask both of you if you would like to see these people extradited, if you'd like to pursue extradition of these Turkish citizens.
I think that they need to come and they need to answer for what they're responsible for. I'm a firm believer that people have personal responsibility, and like I said, if they think that they didn't do anything wrong or their actions were justified, and I certainly do not feel that way myself, but they should bring themselves here to the United States to answer these charges. Ma'am, did you want to say something? Ma'am.
Elizabeth Children from the Armenian Weekly. There is video that shows that President Erdogan was watching me and even ordered the actual attacks. Is there any effort now by the Metropolitan Police Department or other law enforcement to bring him to justice?
Yeah, we don't have any information right now to suggest that we have probable cause to make an arrest of the president. Go ahead, sir.
Two questions of the Canadians. How will you try to get them here? Are you coordinating with Toronto or other Canadians?
We will. We will take our normal steps that we need to get an international suspect back into the country. But I think the most effective way is for them to present themselves.
Some people in Toronto are wondering if another Toronto resident who was seen on the video instructing a protester might be arrested. Is this the end of the arrest, or are you continuing to investigate?
No. We have images that we're going to release today of some additional folks that we would like to know who they are, and in all likelihood, we'll be pursuing charges against those folks. Go ahead, Peter.
Peter Herman from the Washington Post. Has any effort been made to ask the Turkish president to have his people surrender to the U.S.?
Not that I am aware of.
What are your expectations for any of the realistic likelihood that any of them will ever be brought to justice?
I think that's a tough thing to predict. I would be speculating if I was to answer that.
Thank you.
I'll come back there next, Tom. Go ahead.
İlhan Tanır, Turkish News Portal, Washington outlet. My question is, in course of this investigation, have you been coordinating with Turkish Embassy? How would you rate their coordination of cooperation with you?
You know, we have not had to, because we've had the full cooperation of the State Department, and they do the communication with the embassy folks. I can tell you that none of the embassy folks were implicated in this event.
Did you look into Turkish Embassy's role within the events? How did they play? How was their role during the brawl and fight?
I can just have to repeat what I just said, is that none of the folks from the Turkish embassy were implicated in this event. Go ahead.
Given that these men may not ever come back to the United States, is this as much like a public declaration by you and the mayor that you're not going to tolerate this type of stuff, whether you arrest these people and charge them and bring them to justice at all? This is a larger message to the world about how you behave in this issue.
Well, it certainly is a message to people in the world about how you behave in the District of Columbia, and we expect people to come here and to peacefully protest and be law-abiding when they do so. I would like to be an optimist and hope that the people that were responsible for these things that we all saw on video will come here and turn themselves in and make themselves take personal responsibility for what happened. I'll come over there next.
I'll ask a little bit technical question. Were there enough security officers at the place before the fight get out of the control to secure the area?
I think I have to say, from watching the video, I thought that the police did the best that they could under the circumstances. We did have a significant number of law enforcement officers there. One of the difficult things for that particular incident was that it happened so quickly. The police got involved, and it was very much unexpected at the time. So that created challenges for law enforcement. I thought law enforcement did a great job of getting the situation under control quickly. Their first priority in an incident like that is to make sure that the injured receive medical attention. It would be inappropriate in a scenario like that just to arrest everybody all at once. I think this was a better way to approach it, is to gather the evidence. We did have video of the incident and bring the charges, have them be reviewed by the U.S. Attorney's Office and a judge here in the District of Columbia, and then proceed with charges that way.
Also, the PKK is a terrorist group designated by the United States, and those people were pro-PKK protesters. So,
are you saying they were protesters?
They were pro-PKK protesters. They were.
Oh, okay.
Slogans, and it was so close to the place where the president of Turkey entered the residence. So, don't you think that there is a security gap, that those people are so close to the president where he enters the area? And then...
Yeah, I would say in Washington, D.C., we do not care particularly what your views are, what you support or what you do not support. Our role in this government, our role as a police department, is to make sure that you can do so safely, especially if you're here peacefully demonstrating. It doesn't make any difference what you're demonstrating about. I'm sorry? There is no indication right now that the protesters were a terrorist group. Sir?
Chief, this question both for you and the mayor. It is not wildly off topic because it involves the security of dignitaries, obviously in the wake of shooting at the baseball field now.
But it is off topic.
I believe so, ma'am.
Okay.
Off-topic questions we're glad to address right after this, but on-topic questions only at this point.
Okay, thank you.
So we will get with you after this. Go ahead, Sam.
I've had situations that I've seen where you had countries where the president comes and two groups and they get to fighting, DC police have to get involved. What is it, unprecedented just because of the security forces, or what's different about this?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
I have seen the president, I think of Guinea or some country, where they had groups that liked them and didn't here in DC, and they started fighting.
We have
had to get involved. What's different about this one?
Well, I mean, we all saw the violence that was perpetrated against peaceful demonstrators here in Washington, D.C., and it's just something we're not going to tolerate. We have dignitaries that are in and out of this city on a daily basis. Rarely have I seen in my almost 28 years of policing the type of thing that I saw in Sheridan Circle on that particular day.
Because it's officials of the country. Is that the idea that they?
I don't, their motive, whatever they were doing, is really not important. I think what's important is the fact that you had peaceful demonstrators that were physically assaulted in the District of Columbia. And the message to folks who are going to come to our city, either from another state or from another country, is that's not going to be tolerated in Washington, D.C. Go ahead.
Do any one of these individuals have the benefit of diplomatic immunity? And if they do, what's the process moving forward?
Yeah, all of the immunity questions I will leave to the State Department, but I will say that the warrants that we have obtained are legally sufficient, and they can be executed on the individuals. And we have some pictures up here so you can see exactly who these folks are. Go ahead.
Jibala from the Kurdish Service Voice of America. Do you have cooperation with the State Department about the consequence of the process, how affect on the relation between America and Turkey?
Yeah, that's, I can tell you from the very beginning, we have had complete cooperation from the State Department. Those questions, though, that you were asking regarding the relationship between the United States and Turkey are not within my area of expertise. Go ahead.
There was a Turkish man being attacked and heavily wounded by one of these peaceful protesters there. Is there any legal process underway against that attacker?
I think that question is the types of questions that get into a little bit into the evidence. I'm reluctant to go into any evidentiary questions in public. Those are the types of issues that I think that can be, you can look at the court documents when the folks are presented. Like I said, someone will be presented today. Those documents will become public, and then the rest of it will become public when these cases are proceed through the criminal justice system.
Okay, last two here.
Does this change at all MPD's procedure with visiting more dignitaries? Has this made you guys think through sort of your processes?
We're constantly evaluating ways to better protect anybody in our city, particularly our dignitaries that come to visit. So we will certainly take a look and see if something could have been done better, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Last question.
Post was reporting today that 12 people associated with the Turkish government would be arrested or be have their own court out. I see 16. Are 12 of these Turkish?
I'll go over that one more time real quick. So we had 2 arrests on the day of the incident. We have 2 U.S. citizens who were arrested yesterday morning. We have 2 Canadian citizens and 12 Turkish citizens. So the total number is 18. We currently have 14 outstanding warrants, 12 of which are Turkish citizens and 2 of which are Canadian citizens. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much.
We'll
Test.
All right, so there you have it, guys. Police Chief Newsham and the mayor there announcing the many charges there for 12 Turkish security officers after that scuffle outside of the Turkish ambassador's home on May 16th. And he said it himself. He said D.C. is a place for peaceful protesting, and that this was this fighting was in the wrong, so they had to make these arrests. You guys can join us on YouTube for more of our live and breaking news and events for today over on YouTube at Fox 5 DC's channel. All right, guys, coming back into the newsroom here. It's Molly, Cam, and Emily today on this Thursday, June 15th. So thanks for joining us on YouTube. I hope that you guys got a cool, a complete picture there of the scuffle that we were talking about outside the embassy. We actually didn't have any video to show you guys. That was within our rights. So we had that photo to kind of place side by side so you could kind of take the context from there as to what the police chief was talking about when he made these arrests and, excuse me, discussed these arrests today at the convention center. So we're going to be jumping around to some other stories today and just kind of keeping our eyes on Montgomery County Courthouse right here in Norristown, Pennsylvania. We're still waiting. We've been talking about this, a deadlocked jury, and we found out a little more information about what that kind of means. If you're wondering what exactly that means, Cam.
Yeah, so the jurors will eventually have to reach a unanimous decision in order for any kind of verdict to actually come out of this trial. Now, we heard today that the judge told them to keep trying. Earlier today, this was the first time he's done that. I've heard reports that judges can, often ask the jurors to keep trying up to 3 or maybe even 4 times. So we're looking at probably, unless they can reach a decision, a couple more days of this. Now, jurors often do want to reach a decision. I mean, this is a lot of time that they've got to be in there reviewing evidence, debating, talking with one another, and often the deadlocks aren't. It's after some amount of time they can reach a decision. So it's, I hesitate to say likely, but at least possible that that they can resolve their differences and reach a deadlock and reach a decision. Now, if they don't, there are a couple of different things that the judge can do. He can, under very special circumstances, and it's unlikely to occur in this case, he can dismiss individual jurors. But that's usually only in the case of if that particular juror is unwilling to discuss, unwilling to really make any kind of effort to reach a conclusion, and there's kind of significant evidence of that, then the judge can dismiss that particular juror. But like I said, that's only in extreme cases and unlikely to occur in this instance.
Yeah.
Now, what else can happen is and if no resolution can be reached, then it will be what's called a hung jury. Mm-hmm. Now, that essentially just means that there is no resolution to this case. So the charges stand, but no verdict is reached. Yeah. At that point, the prosecution has to decide whether or not they want to retry the case, which would happen in 4 to 6 months. And there's no guarantee that would happen. It depends on a variety of factors, but the prosecution can talk to the current jury and kind of try and figure out what exactly was the issue, why they couldn't reach a conclusion, and figure out how likely a verdict would be, if they were to try and retry it. But I get the sense from articles and from reading professional opinions that it gets harder and harder for the prosecution, the more times they have to retry. And, realistically, only one more retrial is even plausible or likely. So it does get harder. So if a verdict does not reach this time, it would be somewhat unlikely almost that we would get a guilty verdict down the road.
Really interesting stuff. So just some little factoids about what this really means for the jury to be deadlocked. And of course, people have been reporting this, that if he is found guilty and they do prosecute him and he's guilty, he will go to jail for life, for the rest of his life. I mean, he's older anyway, but we know that to be true. So it's a big deal. And this case in itself, of course, sexual assault, a big deal. So we're eager to kind of hear this, and we'll bring that to you guys if we hear anything come up. Like I said, we have this constant shot of the courthouse hanging out there because people are out there. You can even see in the bottom of your screen there, reporters lining up, people getting ready in case this breaks, and it happens. They want to be there right away. So we have this shot up, and we're going to be monitoring it throughout. Guys, in other news, did you guys hear about the 22-year-old Otto Warmbier? He's a Cincinnati, or originally a Cincinnati resident. His parents are in Cincinnati. He was the UVA college student who was arrested or taken into custody in North Korea for grabbing a propaganda sign and what did he do with it?
Yeah, just took it down. I think it's unclear if he was trying to steal it or just defame it in some way.
Right.
But I think he was actually arrested and then convicted to. I don't know the exact specifics, but something like 15 years of hard labor, of which and now 17 months after that conviction, he's now finally been released.
He's back in the
Brought back
States.
to the United States, finally. But he is in a coma.
Yeah, and just last week is when his parents found out that he was in a coma at all. So now he's receiving medical attention. It's a big, big deal, big case, and we're actually going to hear from the doctors who are treating him later in the afternoon. We'll probably put that on our Facebook page to bring it to you guys live. But here on the show now, I want to make sure we play this out. This was just a few moments ago, earlier this morning. Doctors and his parents actually spoke to the press, spoke in a news conference about his status. This is just a crazy case. Again, 22-year-old UVA student. This was a big deal. UVA campus obviously got all up in arms about it, talked about trying to go there and rescue him and free him and see what kind of moves they could make to get him out of this situation. Now he is back and he is in a coma, and his parents didn't know till last week. So let's check out what they had to say at this news conference earlier this morning.
Fred, I'd like to give Kelly Martin from UC a minute to issue a brief statement, and then we'll go ahead and bring Fred to the podium. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kelly Martin. I serve as the Senior Director of Communications at UC Health. I'm here today specifically representing UC Health's University of Cincinnati Medical Center. During the past 48 hours, I've had the privilege to get to know Fred, Cindy, Austin, and Greta Warmbier, and they are truly incredible people. I feel like I know Otto. Later today, at the request of the Warmbier family, 3 UC Health physicians caring for Otto will be sharing details of his medical condition. I can tell you that today at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center, Otto is in stable condition but has suffered a severe neurological injury. Again, the physicians caring for Otto will provide the medical details later this afternoon. On behalf of UC Health, we are sincerely honored to care for our family. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming here. And I made a decision this morning to wear the coat that Otto wore when he was, a prisoner in North Korea. This is a coat he wore when he did his confession, and I thought it was an amazing performance. I'm proud of him, and I'll start with an opening statement. I want to thank everyone who has shared their thoughts, prayers, and best wishes with the Warmbier family during the past 17 months. The burden of our ordeal has been eased by the support we have experienced, not only from our friends in Cincinnati, but throughout Ohio, at the University of Virginia, throughout the United States, and indeed from around the world. I'd also like to thank Todd, Lynn, Mr. Seiler, Mr. Burke from Wyoming High School. This is a place where Otto experienced some of the best moments of his young life, and he would be pleased to know that his return to the United States would be acknowledged on these grounds. My wife Cindy is at Otto's side this morning, as she has been since the moment he returned to Ohio. She wanted me to tell you that she knows that Otto is a fighter, and she and I firmly believe that he fought to stay alive through the worst that the North Koreans could put him through in order to return to the family and community he loves. Cindy joins me in expressing our gratitude to so many people. The wonderful people at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center are providing Otto the excellent medical care he has been denied for so long. As you know, the doctors there will be holding a press conference this afternoon to discuss Otto's medical status, and I will leave the details of such matters to them. We also want to thank Senator Rob Portman, who has stood by us throughout this entire ordeal. Last evening, we received a very nice phone call from President Trump, who told us that Secretary of State Tillerson worked hard to help bring Otto home. We are extremely grateful for their efforts and concern. I would like to highlight this morning the bittersweet feeling that my family has. Relief that Otto is now home in the arms of those who love him, and anger that he was so brutally treated for so long. We went for 15 months without a word from or about Otto. It was only a week ago that we were informed that the North Korean government now claims he was in a coma for almost all of that time. Even if you believe their explanation of botulism and a sleeping pill causing the coma, and we don't, there is no excuse for any civilized nation to have kept his condition secret and denied him top-notch medical care for so long. When Otto was first taken, we were advised by the past administration to take a low profile while they worked to obtain his release. We did so without result. Earlier this year, Cindy and I decided the time for strategic patience was over, and we made a few media appearances and traveled to Washington to meet with Ambassador Joe Yoon at the State Department. It is my understanding that Ambassador Yoon and his team, at the direction of the President, aggressively pursued resolution of the situation. They have our thanks for bringing Otto home. I know you have many questions about what transpired. So do we. We have few answers. There's no excuse for the way the North Koreans treated our son, and no excuse for the way they have treated so many others. I call on them to release the other Americans being held. No other family should have to endure what the Warmbiers have. Thank you. Now I'd be happy to answer questions.
Before you begin asking questions, please state your name and the news organization you're from, please. Yes, sir.
I wonder if you could just talk a little bit about what kind of a dialogue the family was.
That's a loaded softball question. He obviously, Otto's an amazing kid. What he endured, to the brutality and the terror that he went through, and he made it back to the United States, and the performance he did. But that doesn't really speak to who Otto really is. Otto is a sweet, loving, kind person, and that's what we loved about him, and that's what his teachers loved about him. Obviously, Otto was brilliant, but that's not what Otto was. Otto was a sweet, loving, kind person who he was never in a fight. So thank you for the question.
Yes, ma'am.
We're trying to get, Cheryl, the question is what we're doing about Otto's condition. How is Otto? Well, we're trying to make him comfortable. Of course. What did I say to my son? I knelt down by his side and I hugged him, and I told him I missed him, and I was so glad that he made it home. I don't know. You don't feel that. These things are tough to process, but he's with us, and we're trying to make him comfortable, and we want to be a part of his life.
Yes, ma'am.
The question is, do I think the past administration could have done more? I think the results speak for themselves.
Yes, sir.
We're going to leave that to the doctors today. That
Give
That's a good question. I'm proud of Otto and the courage he showed by going to North Korea and having that adventurous side to him. And so the fact that he was taken and treated this way is horrible, and it's tough to process, but we're tremendously proud of him. And so that we're looking to the future. Well, it's our understanding they didn't know. Nobody has seen or heard from Otto since March of 2016. Nobody. Sure. What did our efforts consist of to help bring our son home? Good question. We've been to Washington, D.C. over a dozen times. We met everyone in the past administration, from John Kerry to the Swedish ambassador Sternloff, who lives in Pyongyang. He came in town. We met his aide when he came in town. We've met our senators, our congressmen. We've worked with Governor Richardson. So we were, those were our efforts, and we relied on this false premise that they would treat Otto fairly and let him go. And Otto was held as a war criminal. They termed his confinement as a war criminal, and so that seemed to get Cindy and I's attention, and so we knew the dynamic was changing, and honestly, nothing was happening in our world for Otto. No communication, no letters, nothing. So we did what we could. We tried to stay low. We were advised that it was important that you don't upset the North Koreans. And so we followed that logic. And then there came a time where we're tired. That doesn't seem to have any impact. So we went public with an interview on the Tucker Carlson show, and then did a couple written pieces, and then very quickly we have Otto home. Oh, never, absolutely not. No.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, personally, North Korea is a pariah regime. They're brutal and they're terroristic. You can't believe anything. Well, it's your choice. We don't believe anything they say. We see the results of their actions with Otto. So it's all speculation.
Yes, sir. Kate Fairlock from Voice of America. If you could speak directly to the North Korean regime and the North Korean people, what would you say to them?
I would say I'm so proud of what I would say to the North Korean regime. I would say I'm so proud of Otto, my son, who has been in a pariah regime for the last 18 months, brutalized and terrorized, and he's now home with his family. And I'm just tremendously proud of Otto. His spirit is with us, and I can share my spirit with his spirit, and I'm just so happy for that.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Was Otto treated differently? The quick answer is the results speak for themselves. And you'll hear more about it at the medical conference today.
Yes, sir. In the back.
Sure. The North Koreans, when did we find out Otto was going to North Korea? The North Koreans lure Americans to travel to North Korea via tour groups run out of China who advertise slick ads on the internet proclaiming no American ever gets detained off of our tours, and this is a safe place to go. So Otto's a young, thrill-seeking, great kid who was going to be in that part of the world for a college experience and said, hey, I've heard some friends who have done this. I would like to do this. So we agreed to let him do that. They lure Americans, and then they take them hostage, and then they do things to them. And that's what happened to my son. He was taken hostage at the airport as he was trying to leave the country. And then he was put through the trial, which we've all seen. She performed amazingly well. And here we are today.
Yes, sir.
You may not want to comment on this. Did you see wider benefits in improving the inspector regime and keeping what you see as a tough approach to North Korea?
Oh, I don't see a tough approach to North Korea. They're still able to take Americans hostage and abuse them. They're still able to be terrorists in the world. I don't know that North Korea is. Listen, North Korea terrorized. It started with the prisoners of war of the North Korean War. It extended to the USS Pueblo, and now it extended to my son Otto. It's not. I'm not in government, and I don't. It's not my call.
Yes, sir.
You're welcome. North Korea has proven they are not nature's noble men. Again, do you believe my son needed a used car? Do you believe he's not even a member of the church that he was accused of stealing a banner from? So again, I don't really, we are not burdened with whatever North Korea says or does any longer. The Warmbier family is not. And I'm so happy for Cindy, myself, my community. This community's been amazing. They've been supportive. We've been forced to be quiet and act different because we didn't want to offend them. And so I don't know if that answers your question, but that's my feeling.
Yes, ma'am.
Did Dennis Rodman? No, he didn't. Dennis Rodman had nothing to do with Otto. It's a diversion. They just released Otto. It's a diversion, I'm sure. This is all planned.
Yes, ma'am.
Dennis Rodman's? I could care less.
Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned that he was living there because a company in China was in there. What would you say to other parents, and what was the name of the company?
Sure. Yeah. Well, again, Young Pioneers Tours. They advertise it's the safest trip ever, and it's the one your mother wouldn't want you to go on. But what they do is they provide fodder for the North Koreans, and my son happened to become fodder for the North Koreans, and so that's what happened. They took him hostage at the airport, and then the outcome is self-evident, as it will become.
Yes, ma'am. Over here.
I don't speak with previous testimony. I was just wondering that as a father, in Cincinnati, and now that everything's kind of over, how did it feel to have all this time involved in
That how did it feel? Otto's an amazing guy, and he's always made me look good. He made me and my wife look good. He was the salutatorian of the school here. He did an amazing speech. It doesn't surprise me, honestly. It saddens me. It saddens me.
Yes, sir. In front.
Yes, Dave Kang, the Associated Press.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you say North Korea's pariah state, as you say, but they said that they claim that they released Otto on humanitarian grounds. What do you think is the real reason they chose to release Otto?
Sure. What's the real reason they released Otto? Well, I think the State Department was negotiating pretty tough with them, and so I don't know that we're ever going to find the answer. They did not do this out of the kindness of their hearts. North Korea doesn't do anything out of the kindness of their hearts. So, but we'll not. I don't think we'll find out. I really don't.
Yes, sir.
Can you talk a little bit more about your conversation with the president last night?
Sure. President Trump called me at, say, 10 o'clock last night and just wanted to find out how Cindy and I were doing and wanted to know about Otto. It was a really nice conversation. It was kind, and it was, are you taking care of yourself? And you know, we worked hard, and you know, and I'm sorry this is the outcome. And he told me a little bit about, you know, Secretary Tillerson and Joe Yoon, and you know, they teamed up and they made things happen. And you know, he was very candid, and just, it was a nice conversation. And to be honest with you, I had avoided conversations with him, and then because to what end? I'm dealing with my son. This is about Otto. But I did take the call, and it was gracious, and it was nice, and it felt good, and I thank him for that.
Yes, ma'am. No, I don't. We did not choose this. We don't like this. We do this because we have to. And we do we want to be in this arena? No, it's not. Cindy and I, this is not what we wanted. We did this because we had to. We have time for 2 more questions. Yes, ma'am.
Sure. That's a great question, and I think we felt, what did we feel like when we got the call last Tuesday that Otto was in a coma in North Korea? Disbelief. Couldn't sit down. I don't know what being in shock is, but I'm pretty sure I was. I was out of town, and I ended with my son, Austin, and then we drove home immediately, got in at 1 o'clock and told Cindy. And you know, we've been brutalized for the last 18 months with misinformation, no information, and so we are proud of the fact that our family are basically happy, positive people, and we're going to stay that way. And we're thrilled that our son is on American soil. We're in the school that he thrived in, and I'm able to talk to you on Otto's behalf, and I'm able to wear the jacket that he wore when he gave his confession. I'm not confessing, I'm speaking, but Otto, I love you, and I'm so crazy about you, and I'm so glad you're home. You are such a great guy. And by the way, my family has been rock solid throughout this. We have supported the heck out of one another, and it's just been it's been a wonderful experience to feel that. And now we get to feel the love of the community and not have this crazy, oh, what are they thinking? Are we afraid of what North Korea will say? Don't put ribbons on the trees. All that's gone. So now.
All right, this is the last question. Gentleman in the back.
Fred, John Bell with Center 780. Two more questions. If you heard of all your family from Jeff Fowle, the National World of Regional Rangers, who was detained by North Korea, and you guys see the similarities between Otto and
We see absolutely no similarities. And have we communicated with Jeff Fowle and the others? No, Otto is a young university student who is on a tour with other university students. He's never been in trouble in his life. He wasn't trying to do anything in the country. There just weren't similarities. Otto was considered a war criminal. We weren't looking for confirmation that, oh, this is the way things are. It's our son, it's unique,
and we knew it was unique, and it is unique. So no, and they've reached out to us, and I think they only wanted to help, but that's not what we're looking for. All right, thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Again, on behalf of the entire Warmbier family, the school, and the community, we'd like to thank you.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. We're going to slowly roll you out of that. Pretty interesting statement from Otto Warmbier's father. Wow, what a crazy case that is. And I was reading one of your comments here that I thought was hilarious. That is why I want to read it. Where should we spend spring break this year? Oh, I know. Let's visit a communist dictatorship that hates our country. Sort of what I'm feeling also about this case. But, you know, it was interesting to see the father's just overwhelming love and support for his son, no matter what actually happened, and how he obviously was on his son's side, believing him.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to, you never really know what happens, especially, you know, with North Korea, how they control the media so much, and they control kind of, you know, and in many ways can just kind of make things up as they see fit. So, you know, you don't, we have, you know, we have information, but we have no information that at least I trust to be accurate. So, you don't actually know who's at fault here, but, you know, like this comment, I would generally advise just avoiding the country as a whole.
I know. It was
you know, just between you and I. So.
It was a tricky case, and like we were talking about it earlier while we were watching, no one really is going to know what really went down there except for him himself, and he's in the coma. So, you know, we'll see kind of what becomes of this. Yeah. But, guys, in other news, totally switching gears here. Check this out. Live footage right now of Erin, Wisconsin, the U.S. Open. A blimp has gone down. And this is what the video that we have right now. We're reading that the pilot is injured. A blimp floating over the U.S. Open golf tournament in Erin, Wisconsin caught fire just moments ago. That's a picture of the video that we're getting in right now. Check out this still shot that we're grabbing from where it went down. When it went down, that's the fiery sort of blaze surrounding it. We're reading that the pilot made it out of the blimp, but he suffered injuries and burns on his face, pain in his neck and lower back. And it landed in this remote field right here with no actual direct road access. So emergency responders took ATVs to get out there to the crash site. That was just coming in. We saw some tweets about it. Didn't know if it was going to be a big deal, but it looks pretty scary. Luckily, I think the guy's okay. It was just a one-man aircraft. He actually parachuted out of it when it was on fire. So,
yeah, I mean,
Cam, do you like to follow the U.S. Open? Or you?
Yeah, I'm more of like a Masters only, majors only to some respects, like kind of a Sunday watcher of golf. But you know, it's just kind of I don't believe that it's actually affecting the tournament itself in any way.
Yeah, it's insane. Looks like they're just trying to get. Oh, there's a reporter. See if we get a little live shot here. Erin, Wisconsin. Let's see what she has to say if she updates us. Move in.
I heard it's air sign, that the blimp is air sign.
We don't know any. We put Pence, we put Anna, we don't know anything.
So she's just efforting some more information for her live shot, but we'll see what they have on the scene there about what's going on. But again, a blimp floating over the U.S. Open tournament has gone down. Pilot parachuted out. He is okay, but did have some injuries. So we're going to check into that. But that's just coming in over our feeds, guys, as we were showing you that video of Otto Warmbier's parents who received him back to the U.S. yesterday, finding out that he was in a coma only last week, and got a personal call from the president regarding his return. So, yeah.
I haven't heard from a pretty.
We'll check in.
That to me, I think, is the scariest part, is the fact that they only figured it out last week that he's been in a coma for over a year now. I mean, that's stunning. I mean, not that I necessarily would expect any differently, but just as a, you know, I can only imagine as a parent the fact that you didn't even know that your son was in a coma for a year. That's
right.
That to me, I think, is almost the worst part.
Yeah. Definitely is. It looks like they're hosing down that area. Probably still working on getting that fire out, I guess. Smoke, fire. Because right below us here, it looks like a pretty big.
We are the first crew on the scene. We are the only crew. Everybody's being held back because we got here so fast. So
Wow.
I'd like to do it before we get kicked out.
So you're hearing just the chatter of the Fox reporter who is there at the scene. Hopefully she gets a live shot in and we can find out some more details about this. Guys, concurrently, what else we had? I believe in Miami, but we're going to check in there in a little bit just to see what's going on there. And that's what we got for you guys today.
I'm
Thanks.
hearing that the U.S. Open is not suspended right now. For any golf fans listening right now, Ricky Fowler is out to the early lead at 6 under through 14 holes. So hopefully the blimp doesn't derail or distract him anyway. I'm kind of a Ricky Fowler fan myself. So
cool. And if you guys are wondering what's going on behind us, there's some construction surprises, some cool lights going in. So you'll see it updated shortly. But yeah, so it sounds like it has not affected the game.
We will be the first if we get it. If we get this. There's a news copter above us. Dave, you want me? Yeah. You want me in some? Yeah. So I can thank you. Would you? Okay. Are we just west of a soybean field? What east? Thank you, sir. Please. Got it. They want. Okay. Can I do it over this way so I can point to my right? I point over this way. Okay, all right. Okay. I can tell you we are on the scene, Neil. We're the first crew on the scene. We were on the 14th hole when we heard among the chatter the blimp had just gone down. Take a look over there. We are just east of a soybean field. You can see that the firefighters and, of course, the police are there. And that white tarp that you see, that is the blimp that was covering the U.S. Open here at Erin Hills in Wisconsin. So we're about an hour out of Milwaukee. We talked to Hartford Fire and Rescue here, the county, and they are telling us that it went down, it was on fire, but I was able to grab a witness. There was one younger man who was here, and I believe he's coming back, but he's giving his statement to the state police here. And he specifically told me he saw it catch fire and then it went down. We believe, and we have not confirmed, that this blimp is owned by a company called AirSign. And Dave, if you pan up, you can see their helicopters now coming, and they had a ban of the airspace as soon as this happened. But this on the first day of the U.S. Open golf tournament, and the important point to note, though, is that there was we understand one person on board, the pilot. There were some reports that he parachuted out and that he is safe. I asked that one young man, the witness, and he told me he did not see that at the moment. I'm just keeping my eye on this here because as we look over, they did tell me, Neil, that there is a propane tank attached to that blimp that has not exploded, so they are concerned, and that's why they're keeping us far away. And we pretty much dropped everything we were doing on the 14th hole, jumped in the car, and ran over here. But since then, they have shut down the area, and they are pretty much asking us to move pretty soon. So we are just bringing this story to you first on Fox Business, and at the moment, we're just waiting on full-on confirmation that the pilot did manage to escape, and he is okay. But as soon as we get that, we will let you know for sure. And I'm waiting on those witnesses again, but they were two young boys, and again, not even boys, they're look to be about 20. But over here you can see that we do have the State Patrol, And then to the left is the soybean field where this went down. We got a second to talk to the daughter-in-law of the owner of the soybean field. She didn't want to really comment, but she had been out there with a yellow vest on, checking out the situation. So Neil, quite an auspicious beginning, certainly, to the start of the U.S. Open golf tournament. They do have drones that are going to be able to at least cover some of the beauty shots of the golf tournament. But as long as everybody's okay for the moment, they do not have a blimp. Neil. Correct. No, and as we all know, as we all know, witnesses are sometimes a little unreliable because it's pretty frantic and it gets disconcerting. But Fox Business's producers actually saw it go down from afar, and they did take some pictures, which I believe we've shown on the network already. But very tough to see at the moment what's going on. Again, an unexploded propane tank attached to the blimp. So they're keeping us far. It is a dangerous situation at the moment, and they do have experts out there. But again, we're trying to get a real read on what happened, but multiple witnesses say they saw it catch fire and go down.
So that's pretty wild. An update there from the Fox Business reporter out in near Erin Hills, she's saying, Wisconsin, about this blimp. Apparently it was a Penn-fed blimp is what we're reading. And a witness said that the pilot appeared to have parachuted out before getting into more danger there. So hopefully everyone is okay. She was still kind of confirming that detail. But yeah, guys, live and breaking out of this area of Wisconsin, she said about an hour from Milwaukee, where the U.S. Open is being held. And sounds like everything is okay, but kind of a weird, scary incident to just happen at the beginning of the Open.
Yeah, definitely not what they were expecting. I mean, coming into work just trying to cover the golf tournament, and all of a sudden a blimp's coming down and there's fire everywhere, and now they've got a propane tank that they're trying to make sure doesn't explode or cause any more problems. So just a very unexpected day at the Open.
Yeah, they saw it. There was a tweet too. I'm going to see if I can grab that video. They said people just saw it slowly deflate and then go down, and then they heard a bunch of kabooms, smoke, and then we see this picture right below here, this still shot of what some of it looked like. And she was saying some of the Fox Business people were actually there, caught some quick video, and I think they tweeted it out. The network took it on, so we were being sent around this video as well. But yeah, kind of a crazy picture here. Let's bring that full screen there. Guys, here right below me is what looks like a shot, but this should be a video. Here we go, of the tweets of the actual deflation. There it is. It's kind of a slow fall here. Someone caught that as it was happening. And it's short, just a quick 10-second clip here, and it's loading. But slowly deflating, coming down to the ground, and that's it. So that's the still shot of what it kind of looked like in the air, just so you can get another perspective from someone on the scene who tweeted this out and gave us permission to use it. But this is the video we have up right now. We still have this shot out in the fields here next to a soybean field in Wisconsin where this all just happened. A little more information for you guys. Vice President Mike Pence is about to speak. We'll see if we can grab that for you live. He's down in South Florida making a speech at FIU. He's going to be joined actually by, or reportedly was going to be joined by Secretary of State Tillerson and John Kelly, Secretary of Homeland Security. So we'll see that they were expected to speak around now. So we'll see if that takes place or if we just grab Vice President Pence himself. But again, at Florida International University, that's where they are right now. Looks like this camera is moving out in Wisconsin. Beautiful day looks like out there. At the open, yeah. Great day. So now, in wake of yesterday's event here in Alexandria and the shootings really across the country in San Francisco and here, we know that security is going to be heightened wherever these officials go. So that's sort of the talk now of surrounding this event. Let me give you a quick look at it here. This is what it looks like at Florida International University, where Pence is about to speak. We'll see that shortly. Let's go back while we still have this feed in Wisconsin of the blimp that went down. Some rescue crews still coming out there. Remember, this wasn't near any roads for cars to get to it, so they had to take other types of vehicles like ATVs out to rescue the blimp. Maybe we'll hear from some people here. Reminder, guys, that we're still waiting if there's any updates on Representative Steve Scalise's situation. He was the House Majority Whip who was shot yesterday in Alexandria. Let's hear from this witness here about the blimp.
Bartholommew.
All right. Tell me what you saw.
So we were weed whacking over in one of our fields, and I looked up and I saw the blimp coming down. It had flames on it, so I threw the weed whacker that I had in the Ranger. I grabbed my partner, and we came over here to help. So.
Did you see the pilot?
I did not see the pilot.
What was the first thing you saw then once you got to the scene?
Once we got to the scene, we came around the corner, and there was a big explosion and like a ball of flames that came up. So we were just trying to help in any way that we could.
And again, you did not see that pilot anywhere,
no,
not even injured.
No, I didn't see the pilot at all.
Was there signage and anything else that you saw in the blimp?
The blimp, when it was on the ground, it was on fire, and it was in one of the hay fields at the farm I work at. So we talked to the first responders and helped them get through this tree line so that they could get to the blimp.
What were you thinking as you saw it go down?
I was kind of in shock for a second when I turned around and see it. It was a crazy sight. Like I thought, wow, is this really happening? And I said, oh yeah, it is. So we grabbed the Ranger and was right here right away.
And you got to the scene and describe it.
Okay.
All right.
It is, but they don't know back home. And then we'll
I recorded the whole thing.
So, I mean, this thing was like, right? I was shocked. It was crazy. I thought, wow, this really happened.
I can like.
Well, guys, that's the situation out in Erin Hills. Erin, they're calling it the town, Wisconsin. You can see there's footage of the blimp down. That witness did not see the pilot, so we're hoping everything's okay. Maybe they'll try to effort some interview with him if they can find him, guys. But we're going to switch it over now because I just saw Rex Tillerson introduce the vice president down in Florida. So we'll see if this is interesting in any way and kind of flash you there and then possibly bring you back up here to D.C., continuing to monitor the follow-up from yesterday's shooting in Alexandria. And yeah, we'll be back with you guys shortly. Here, we'll jump down to Florida for Vice President Pence.
But we're especially grateful to the brave police officers who ran into danger without regard to their personal safety. As I told her and her family this morning at the hospital, the courageous actions of Officer Crystal Griner and that of Officer David Bailey saved lives and prevented an even greater tragedy. And the American people are grateful for these courageous police officers. While there will always be those who seek to divide, who choose insult over insight, tonight on a baseball field in our nation's capital, the world will see America is better than that. As President Trump said yesterday, we are strongest when we are unified, when we work together for the common good. And when a neighbor is hurting or under attack, the American people always come together with generosity, compassion, and prayer, and we always will. It's in that spirit that I'm honored to stand here with all of you today, our neighbors as well, from across South America, Central America, and North America at this historic gathering. So to President Hernandez, President Morales, Vice President Ortiz, Secretary Vidigare, Secretary Osorio, members of the Cabinet, honored guests, it is my privilege as Vice President of the United States to welcome you to this conference on the prosperity and security of Central America. I bring greetings today from my friend and a champion of the strong partnership between the United States and Central America, the 45th President of the United States, President Donald Trump. Allow me also to thank Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and Secretary John Kelly and their Departments of State and Homeland Security for their extraordinary efforts in bringing together this historic gathering. Allow me to also thank the government of Mexico for their full partnership in making this event possible. Let's give these departments and let's give the government of Mexico a vigorous round of applause. Thank you. I'm also grateful for the presence of our Treasury Secretary, Steven Mnuchin, and I want to express my appreciation to the Inter-American Development Bank and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce for organizing yesterday's economic event. And also let me personally thank all the public and private sector leaders who traveled to be here today from across the Western Hemisphere and Europe. Before such a distinguished group of leaders, today it is my privilege on President Trump's behalf to thank President Hernandez, to thank President Morales, and to thank President Ortiz for the progress you have made in the Northern Triangle. We congratulate you and we commend you. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your courage. And thank you for your strong stand and your personal sacrifice to ensure a more secure and prosperous Central America. We couldn't be more grateful. Since the founding of the Alliance for Prosperity in 2014, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador have devoted significant resources toward a brighter future for your people. You've courageously pursued the fight against corruption, crime, and drug trafficking. You've undertaken structural reforms to establish a stronger foundation for economic growth. And you're working in close cooperation with regional partners, your business communities, and multinational institutions to implement long-term solutions to the problems facing Central America. Your resolve is impressive. And know today that you have the great respect of the President of the United States and the American people. And on behalf of the President, allow me to assure you, the United States of America stands with the nations and people of the Northern Triangle. We stand with you in your commitment to root out crime and corruption. We stand with you in your commitment to stop the scourge of drug trafficking once and for all. And the United States of America stands with you as you build a more secure and prosperous future for the benefit of your people and the benefit of the Western Hemisphere. In a word, we're in this together. As the President has said often, his highest duty as President of the United States is to keep America safe. But this President knows that your security and your prosperity are directly connected to ours. This very gathering is a testament to President Trump's commitment to a stronger, safer, and more prosperous Central America. I'm pleased to announce at the President's direction that I'll be traveling to Central and South America later this year to continue to build on the good work being done at this conference. You know, the people of the United States have a special place in our hearts for the nations and the people of Central America, especially in the Northern Triangle of Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. Your nations experienced your birth of independence when the United States was still in the youth of our own. We're bound together by history and geography. We're bound together by commerce and nearly $25 billion in goods and services that flow between us every year. But most of all, we're bound together by friendship, by the rich traditions and contributions that the sons and daughters of the Northern Triangle have made to the fabric of American life and make to this day. Be assured the United States is proud of our strong partnership with the nations of the Northern Triangle. We are committed to strengthening that partnership so that we can continue to address the significant problems facing our neighborhood. You sit at the heart of the Western Hemisphere, where North meets South, and every day, countless people and products pass over your streets, through your airports, your seaports, and across your borders. By and large, this flow of commerce and crowds benefits us both in the exchange of culture and goods and services. But as we all know, Central America has been plagued as well by vicious gangs and vast criminal organizations that drive illegal immigration and carry illegal drugs on northward to a journey to the United States. These criminal syndicates wreak havoc everywhere their tentacles spread, as your people know all too well. At this very moment, there's an estimated 85,000 active gang members in the Northern Triangle alone. They bring untold misery, corruption, and violence to your communities. 1 out of every 5 citizens in this region is a victim of crime every year, from theft to extortion to kidnapping to human trafficking, or worse. But the consequences of this rampant crime are not restricted to the Northern Triangle. They radiate outward and swiftly reach us here in the United States. Central America is merely the beginning of a journey for too many migrants fleeing poverty and violence. It's merely a stop on the highway as people confront.
Company trying to get some shots of the U.S. golf tournament, but we understand that it had caught fire and there was a significant explosion. I spoke to a witness who watched it all happen. All right, is that good, Michelle? Yep. Okay. But I don't need to redo the tag, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to redo the
tag. No.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Sweet. Great.
All right, let's go.
Let's go back.
Fallen prey to the scourge of drug addiction. President Trump has made it clear that this must end, and under his leadership and yours, this will end. President Trump has already taken decisive action to protect the American people from the harshest consequences of illegal immigration and transnational drug trade. This president has ordered the creation of, in his words, an aggressive strategy to dismantle the criminal cartels that have spread across our nation. And our administration has wasted no time under the leadership of Secretary Kelly in removing gang members, drug dealers, and criminals off the streets of America. The president's leadership is already making a difference. Criminal organizations such as MS-13 are being decimated and going directly into prison. And thanks to President Donald Trump, illegal crossings at America's southern border are down nearly 70% since the start of this year. And we are grateful for our partners in Mexico and across the Northern Triangle who have contributed to our progress in this area. But to further stem the flow of illegal immigration and illegal drugs into the United States, President Trump knows, as do all of you, that we must confront these problems at their source. We must meet them and we must solve them in Central and South America. The United States partnership with the Northern Triangle is built to accomplish this vital mission. It's what brings us here today. In terms of security, the United States of America is helping train your police forces We're supporting your attorneys general as they target drug traffickers, gang leaders, and corruption. We're sharing information to better disrupt the flow of weapons and cash into criminal hands. And the United States is proud to support programs in the Northern Triangle that strengthen civil society, improve education and literacy, and spur economic growth in impoverished areas. American assistance in business development and agriculture in Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras in recent years has created more than 40,000 jobs and lifted tens of thousands of families out of poverty. Rest assured, under the leadership of President Trump, the United States will continue to work with our partners to support the programs that prove effective. Even in this time of fiscal challenges, I'm pleased to report that President Trump has made clear our commitment to this region by requesting an additional $460 million for security and prosperity in Central America. But as you all know, the most important work throughout the region is to be done by the nations and the people who call it home. A secure and prosperous Central America requires nothing short of national transformation on an ongoing basis from within, in the economy, in civil society, in the halls of government. In the Northern Triangle, we ask you with great respect that you maintain and seek to expand your commitment to tackle these problems head on. Through the Alliance for Prosperity, you've already made sustained commitments in recent years. $2.8 billion to stimulate growth, improve safety, root out corruption, end the environment of impunity, and enact other important reforms. These are vital investments in your future. Yet continued action is more necessary now than ever before. On behalf of the President, we urge you to cement the gains that you have made and make renewed progress toward our shared goal of security and prosperity in Central America. Working together, we will continue to build professional and accountable civilian police forces throughout the region. We'll continue to support your campaign against public corruption and to strengthen the rule of law. And together, we'll continue to provide more people with a path out of poverty, to give the citizens of Central America a better path and a brighter future. But to accomplish these goals, the nations of Central America must continue to work with new partners in the business community, in government, and in the faith community to foster stronger and more robust civil societies and economies, to staunch the flow of illegal drugs and illegal immigration, and to combat gang violence and organized crime. A flourishing economy gives people a reason to put down roots in the land of their birth and to grow, rather than fleeing to the north. Good paying jobs give people an alternative to a life of poverty, hopelessness, and crime. By fostering opportunity in the cities and towns of Central America, we'll keep families together. We'll create stronger and more stable communities where your sons and daughters can climb the ladder of success and build a brighter future for themselves, their loved ones, and your nations as a whole. The surest way to make progress toward opportunity and prosperity is for the nations of the Northern Triangle to continue to break down barriers to job creation and growth, to reform their tax and regulatory systems, and to root out corruption at every level of government. This room is proof that businesses also see tremendous opportunity in the Northern Triangle and beyond. Businesses from North and Central America are so well represented here, as are the Inter-American Development Bank, the World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund. These institutions and industry leaders, I can assure you, want to partner with your nations to improve the investment climate, to create jobs, to spur the kind of growth that will build a foundation for a brighter future for your nation.
All right, guys, can we just cut in for a second and talk about some crazy video that we are just finding out about? Check this out. This is from the NYPD, and this is a video of an assault on a deli worker in the Bronx. Check this out. Cam, you want to narrate what's happening here?
Yeah, so I don't know exactly how much about how this dispute started, but this guy he's relaxing there, grabs some avocados, and then just starts firing them from, like, that's got to be like 4 feet away at this deli worker, apparently over a dispute over their order.
Yeah, that's what we know.
To just keep watching. All of a sudden, this other guy gets involved. It just, he's like, I guess if we're throwing avocados now, I'm if you're throwing avocados, I've got to throw avocados
It's
too.
crazy. Oh,
it is chucking them. And then watch him here with the bananas. He just picks them up and just chucks all the bananas.
So bad.
This is one of the craziest videos I've ever seen. The reaction is.
Yeah, it's so bad. That was the video put out by NYPD, and I'm reading. So there are two males. They're both in their 20s. They're both wanted for a day or so. Now the news today is that they picked up one of the guys. I don't know which one, but there was an argument over a food order at this place called Stadium Gourmet Deli in the Bronx. Prompted the attack. It happened in the early morning of May 29th. So jump back to last month, the end of last month, and they caught this on obviously security camera. And yeah, we're hearing this as like the avocado assault. It's kind of making its rounds around Twitter, and hurling avocados and bananas. Yeah, that was crazy.
That was absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what they did to this guy's order, but they must have really messed it up in order to prompt that reaction. I mean,
and the guy though, actually the 21-year-old deli worker, he actually suffered cuts and bruises on his face. They said fractures and a broken jaw.
Broken jaw, he said. And that first one you can see, he was completely unsuspecting, caught him real good because he went down. That first one, you see it again. The very first shot. Watch here, the guy on the left in the blue and white shirt. Bang! That one there catches him really clean.
Maybe that was the one that did it.
I kind of think that was the one because then he's laying on the ground. I mean, he was, and avocados are hard,
definitely
hard on the outside. So that would hurt, especially from 5 feet away or whatever that was. Guy's got a little bit of an arm on him. I mean, did they put too much mayo on the sandwich or something? Like I don't really.
Hopefully it wasn't something super trivial, but then he starts hurling the bananas. The other guy gets involved. I wonder if they both know each other, if they're both in it. I don't know the background on that, but yeah. So anyway, it looks like NYPD did a good thing by putting it out there and getting a little bit of response, and then finding what we think we know here is that one was arrested today. Thursday. So that's what we know there. Kind of a crazy case. Odd. Guys, you're watching Fox 5 Live here in Washington, D.C., so thanks for joining us on our YouTube stream. I just want to remind you, if you like the channel, go ahead and click that button, subscribe, so that you can be a part of our channel. See us every day. We're up every day at 11 a.m., if not earlier. If we have some crazy breaking news, we'll butt in and just cut in and have all that breaking news for you like we did yesterday with that Alexandria shooting. Now, we're still following that case. We have reporters all day on it at our station, and we're following it in here too in the digital newsroom, just checking in to see if anything comes out about the updates with the injured congressman, of course, Representative and Republican Steve Scalise from Louisiana, injured, shot in the hip, still recovering, and what we know is that he's still in critical condition in the hospital here in Washington. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Any changes to any of their situations, we'll bring that to you guys if we get it in. So right now, just kind of looking in at what we have, we still have Vice President Pence. He's down in Florida making remarks, and it looks like he's finishing up shortly here, but let's check in. Oh, okay, guys. Yeah, we're gonna go over to a story out of Georgia. If you guys remember, this all kind of happened during a lot of the craziness of the breaking news this week. But in Georgia, there were 2 escaped inmates, and they're still on the run.
Was this was yesterday or the day before that?
Now it's all kind of blending together.
I think it was the day before that.
I think so too. And then yesterday there was an update.
So that's Tuesday. I believe it was Tuesday.
Yes, it was Tuesday. So they've been on the run since Tuesday in Georgia. And there was an update today, the fact that these guys are still on the run. One guy's in his 20s, one's in his 40s.
And just if you don't know, there's two inmates being transferred on a transfer bus in between two prisons in
Crazy.
In Georgia. Somehow, in prison buses have all the inmates are in the back, separated by a gate, and then there's correctional officers in the front, kind of watching them. Somehow got through the gate, managed to assault, kill, and take the firearms from the officers in the front, kill them, escape, pull the bus over, and then steal a car, which was, I believe, a green Honda Civic.
Yep.
From just somebody, wrong place, wrong time, happened to be driving down the road, and have been on the run since then. So this is the video we have is, I believe, an update on that situation. And you might get more of that information. The reward for catching them, which I just saw, has been up to $130,000. So
money.
If you want to click $130,000, then maybe catch
Take
these guys.
Take
But
an eye for
they are armed and obviously dangerous. So.
Yeah, crazy that this has been going on for a couple of days. We've seen escaped prisoner situations unfold locally. We had one in Howard County recently in Maryland, and that was also quite scary. But it kind of wrapped up, I think, a little quicker than this obviously has. This is still ongoing for 2 days. The one here, I think, was just barely less than 2 days. But they found him in a sewer, in like a drainage pipe, sort of hiding out, and it was one guy. This one, these two fugitives have killed 2 correctional officers, and they're armed and dangerous. And like we said, you'll see the picture of them in a second. One is in his 20s, one in his 40s. So more details on those guys here in this update. This just happened moments ago in Morgan County, Georgia.
As soon as I hear my thing. I'll talk real loud. I'm just trying to get some kind of way so I can. I kind of like these ladies down there. I want you to look at the camera, John. Well, you need to look up. I got distractions now. Ooh, I got some serious distractions now. How you do, sir? I'm talking about the straw hat.
Sure, doing well.
I've known him quite a few years.
We've been around a long time, haven't we?
We have, sir.
Getting close now?
Getting very close. As soon as I hear our lead-in music, I'll let you go, sir. Or you can go. You can go now.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Going right now.
First thing I want to say, let us all think about, and I want to express sympathies to the families of both of the correction officers that were murdered. As most of you are aware, early Tuesday morning, a Georgia Department of Corrections bus was traveling through Putnam County, and at that time, 2 prisoners overpowered the 2 officers operating the bus. They brutally shot both of those officers multiple times. They then carjacked an individual who was nothing more than a passerby, took his car and fled from the scene. Yesterday, we recovered that car here in Morgan County, less than a mile from where we are. A burglary was perpetrated by them, we know by evidence left at the scene, at a residence nearby where the car was abandoned around 10 or 11 o'clock that morning. Later yesterday, we learned that they had stolen a white Ford F-250 truck from a rock quarry about 9 miles east of here. And that happened, we now know, around 10 or 11 o'clock Tuesday night. Where they have gone from there, I don't know. We don't know, and we're heavily dependent on the citizens of this state and other states possibly letting us know. We now have a reward that totals $130,000. I've been a police officer of some sort in this state for over 43 years, and I can tell you today there has never been a reward that large. I've worked in metro areas and rural areas around this state, and I have never seen this level of assistance in my career. Literally every law enforcement agency in this state, local, federal, and state, this is the greatest effort I have ever seen. And it's not just because of the crime, it's because the public is in grave danger. These are dangerous, seriously dangerous, vicious hoodlums that need to be apprehended. I want to thank Sheriff Robert Markley. We have unfortunately he's very gracious. We've unfortunately taken over his entire operation here, and he's been mighty kind in that respect. At this point in time, I'm going to turn it over to the special agent in charge of the FBI office in Atlanta.
Good afternoon. David LaValle, Special Agent in charge of the Atlanta Field Office here in Georgia. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the working relationship that we have. Sheriff Seals alluded to it, and you can see behind me the unified effort with which we are pursuing these two individuals. On a federal level, the FBI, the United States Marshals Service, and the ATF are working closely together, especially as the search for these individuals expands. This is day 3, and we are aggressively, as a unified body and a unified group here, pursuing them, whether that's here in the state of Georgia or if they've left. It has become a nationwide search for these two individuals. We would just reiterate, we do need the public's help. It is, along with us working together, we need the eyes and ears of everybody really in this country to be on the lookout for these two individuals. We are following up on tips and leads now. They do continue to come in, and we are pursuing these individuals. There is a tip line that we'll put out for you. It's 877-WANTED-2. That's 877-WANTED and then the number 2. The numbers are actually 877-926-8332. We would remind the public these two individuals are considered armed and dangerous. If anybody should see them or see one of them, it would be appropriate to dial 911 immediately and report that to whatever police or sheriff jurisdiction that they're in. But we continue to press this. We bring all the federal assets to bear on this and try to accomplish what we need to do, and that's to protect the communities.
All right, sorry guys, kind of a bad video there, not a very good feed to bring you, but wanted to make sure you had sort of that new information about this manhunt for the escaped inmates in Georgia. Pretty scary stuff, and you saw their pictures in the bottom of the screen. They're trying to alert anybody who's watching that press conference, anybody watching at all, even here now, that they're still looking for these guys. So kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and after
reward
2
is-
days, they can really bet. You can get a long way in 2 days, and they obviously tried to they to my knowledge tried to shut down the border of Georgia, but obviously they can still slip through cracks and stuff. So they really could be anywhere. So it's important that everyone across the country really keeps looking out for them, because a lot of the times the way that these people are found is through tips from the public, from people like you and I. It's not, obviously the investigators do a phenomenal job and do the best they can, but it's just a random stroke of luck a lot of times that ends up bringing these people to justice.
Yeah, it totally is, guys. And we're kind of looking around to see what else is happening. Right now we have a feed of, let's see, we have a lot of stuff, but a feed of Capitol Hill. This is sort of just a Capitol Hill, what I think is a Capitol Hill stakeout camera, kind of awaiting to get comment from people. But I haven't really been made aware that we're getting anything from this. So this is just one of our cameras out there. And also a live look at the Capitol Dome here. We're probably going to finish up the show shortly. If you've been watching us, thanks so much for joining in. We have no real new developments from the follow on yesterday's shootings, either of them, in San Francisco or here in Alexandria. We're kind of waiting on updates on how Steve Scalise is doing in the hospital. We have a few reporters kind of tasked to different angles following that story. So we've been just trying to bring you interesting trending videos and stuff that's happening today. But sort of a solemn scene here in Washington today, as leaders are obviously opening up a lot of their speeches and their formal duties and events here, with a big tribute to the Capitol police officers who were harmed when they fired back yesterday in the shooting at that ballpark field, or at the baseball field practice. And also, piggybacking on that, is tonight is the congressional baseball game that is still ongoing. It's still going to take place. I'm sure there's going to be a big presence from fans, from people, DC goers, congressmen, of course, and people in government. And it's at 7 o'clock tonight. So I think my guess is that Nats Park will be very populated and very secure for this game. Are you going, Kim, or no?
I'm not going in for it. I actually have not been to any of the congressional baseball games. I need to go at some point. I know that my dad's been a couple times.
Oh, cool.
And he always says that they're a good fun time. I mean, it's just
Dems versus Republicans.
Relaxed atmosphere, kind of, and and obviously they're playing to win, as they say, but it's a bunch of old guys playing baseball, basically. So
I think it'll be very, especially this year, I think it'll be very united. Obviously, there'll be a whole, thing, and maybe even like a moment of silence or a prayer before for the House Majority Whip himself and or the others that were harmed, as this all goes on. So interesting thing. I also can't make it to the game tonight, unfortunately, but really wanted to. Was kind of, I had it in my calendar, so I was looking forward to it. I do have some friends who work on the Hill and like some staffers who are always involved, so they get it in my calendar early. But that is tonight, and that's the practice that they were all getting ready for this game tonight when everything took place yesterday. More details, of course, coming out about the killer, the shooter, the suspect, and his life. And we're going to have all those stories updated on our website. So take a look there if you need more information, as well as some of the other video that we brought you today on the show. A lot of that is clipped out and also on our Facebook page if you want to rewatch that, or you can go back and rewatch our feed here. But we are grateful to have you guys on today on Fox 5 Live. I think with that, with no other stuff coming in, we're going to roll out the show for the afternoon. So thanks for commenting, the Stig and T Lime. And thanks for chilling with us today on this Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow as normal, 11 o'clock. We'll see what breaks, what is coming out in live news tomorrow daytime. Thanks for joining us, guys. We're going to leave you shot of the White House today. No White House press briefing, so it is a private meeting today. So instead, we'll take you on the outside, take a live look at what it looks like outside. Thanks, guys.